From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
I'm Ken Napzok.
And I'm Jennifer Landa.
And if you've been watching for a couple weeks in a row here, you might realize that we're recording a couple of Subjective Wars on the same day because we're all wearing the same clothing, particularly. I was going to make a joke about Ken's hat, and then he changed his hat. Very tricksy on me.
I didn't like that hat. I thought about it in the fake week between episodes. It's an okay hat. I like it. But
I like it.
And by the way, I'll make sure clear. I have no problem with like a camo hat, a camo motif. I don't want anyone to read that wrong. It doesn't look good on my head. So I went with my Yankee hat, my 1927 replica Yankee hat.
And there's no way to tell that I've changed clothing because it's another black shirt. So
well, that's the thing, right? Once I switched to that model, Joseph, I followed your lead. It's such a free feeling.
It's so nice on laundry day. Jennifer, have you changed any articles of clothing?
No, I have not. I did put my 3PO back here. There we go.
Okay.
See, he fell again.
He's loose. He falls.
You know that we're recording this on the same day because 3PO is still loose and sloppy over there on Jennifer's cupboard bookshelf. Anyway, we are excited to have another episode of Subjective Wars. Last week, we had fun discussing C-3PO versus R2-D2 and tearing our souls apart. We're once again going to tear our souls apart by choosing between two things that I think we probably both we like both of them up to some degree. We are going to discuss Star Wars release time windows. May versus December, the two most traditional big film Star Wars release times. Which do we prefer and why? We always like to start with our biases. So, Jennifer, do you just out of the gate have an answer of like, yes, it's May, yes, it's December, and if so, why?
I thought I was clear, but as always, some may say because I'm a Libra. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I can't decide. I am torn because right now I'm looking at my holiday schedule and Skeleton Crew and getting concerned that I'm not going to be able to enjoy it the way I would like to because of the chaos of the holidays. But I love the feeling of it. As we were saying before the show, take me back to when, we were getting The Force Awakens and our films during December. It's just a magical time. But practically, I kind of like the May. Because my kids are in school and I can devote some special time to my Star Wars.
Ooh, interesting. Can't wait to dive into more of the schedule thing because I think a lot of people have made a pro-December statement because they feel like, everybody's got time off. You can go with family. Speaking from, at least an American perspective. I love your perspective is get them kids in school so mom can do her Star Warsing. It's very good. It's very good. Ken, where do your instincts take you for your initial feeling?
It's December. It's December. Though I'm going to say a lot of things that I love about May, and Jen, the schedule thing is real because we are starting to get the rollout slowly. We are recording this in the past, so who knows what the future was revealed, but we do know a little bit about Skeleton Crew's release date, December 3rd, and I immediately went, that's what I expected, but oh man, there's a lot of things going on. I'm busy during the time. Like there's that feeling, the schedule, the realities, but in terms of just the joy, the fun, movies, December, man, and they won me over, and that's where I start is I was one of those. I was going to say I'll give myself credit, not stupid, but I was one of those internet talking heads in 2014, going, they're going to do this in December, fools! It should be May. Star Wars is in May. I don't know. Star Wars is in December for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been enough time where I think a lot of people have that's always been their experience, right? Or maybe they went to the prequels when they were really young. Right. But December is where all this sort of modern version of Star Wars, where all the communities has been built up. You reminded me, Ken, of all the pundit talk of like Force Awakens. They pushed it back, right? They were aiming for the traditional May. And then they wanted to get it out. They wanted to start the celebration and the new era rolling. And like, we're not going to wait a whole year. We're going to put it out in December. And I remember doing YouTube shows. There's an old show, Jedi Alliance, that Ken started. And then I eventually took over as one of the co-hosts and was doing that during the build up and release of Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of pushback from YouTube commenters, because we were discussing what the domestic opening weekend box office would be. It ended up being astronomically higher than anybody predicted. But every time we predicted it's going to be big, we'd get all sorts of pushback of, here's the receipts. Movies don't open big in December, period. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It was such a Star Wars thing of like, well, now December is also a time for blockbusters. And, it's important to remember it's, been almost 10 years, but it's changed from blockbusters don't open December. They don't play in December. It can't happen, to, well, of course you release a blockbuster in December. Why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing shift in the power of Star Wars, and then many other movies coming up behind it, but starting with Force Awakens.
Yeah, it's wild to look back and think, and 10 years on, it's become the norm now, like you said. But and I have mixed feelings on the need to discuss business now, not necessarily talk about us and ForceCenter, but just I think fans are too worried or too concerned or think they know the business side of it more than they do, and it just kind of spoils some of the fun and some of the celebration. But that's a different discussion, not what we are talking about business today, again, to be clear. But going back then, that was the thing. It was exactly what you're saying. Hunger Games is the only film to get caught. It only did 95. Oh, how dare they do this? It's going to have a horrible opening weekend. And I just like that Star Wars itself, not even Lucasfilm or Disney, just Star Wars itself was like, hold our beer. We're going to go blow the records out of the water, as it should have. And it just turned it, it turned it into a holiday tradition. Whether or not you celebrate the holidays or you view December as a holiday season, for me, it was kind of like, I get to go home. I get to go see it with my folks, or get to see it with friends who have a little more time because they're not working as much, because this town kind of shuts down in December. So I definitely picked up on that vibe and love it. But there's something to be said for May, but that's my bias.
Yeah. I think my bias starting out is May, and I have nothing against December at all. I've enjoyed the December experience, and if they announced December, I'd be like, hooray. We talked last week when we were discussing R2 and 3PO about, embracing the world as it is versus as it should be. And to criticize myself, I think I want it to be May, even though it doesn't necessarily work as better, but that's the way I want the world to be. I just have such a childhood, young adult association with summer is the time for fun. Now, that has been true in my life in years and years and years. Summer, I usually work harder than almost any other time in the year. I actually have more time off in the winter holidays. But that association, like I'm a little kid, of you ride your bike down to the Cineplex and you see something that just excites you and you want to race around on your bike, pretending you're on a speeder bike, pretending you're in the pod race. That spirit that comes with a May summer release is like this thing that I have a hard time letting go, even though it's just nostalgia. It's not entirely baked into reality. It's nostalgia, but I still want it. That particular May nostalgia, that's when fun movies come out.
Yeah, it's like you're pitching an episode of Stranger Things where in the background is like, have you seen E.T.? Have you look at the poster? Yeah, it's that summer feeling. Truly is. Yeah.
Summer of '84 with Ghostbusters and Gremlins, and Temple of Doom, and you approach a Gen Xer and they won't shut up about it. But that's where my bias starts, and I got to do some exploration beyond that. Jennifer, what have you enjoyed about the era of the December releases?
I think, I guess maybe it was with The Force Awakens more so, or even The Last Jedi. It's kind of the rollout of it. The buildup of it is part of the experience, the speculating responsibly, right? It feels like we're able to enjoy it for longer, and then we all come together and we celebrate it during the holidays. But then I also think about Solo, which came out in May, right? And there was a fun rollout with that as well. And I think it also depends on what is being released during the time. And I feel like the days of where it was like, one summer blockbuster, it's kind of over, especially now with streaming. You have so much other competition of shows that are being released, big shows that are going to be competing with what's in the movie theater. So is it going to get the
Mm-hmm.
time or the energy that Star Wars deserves when it's in December if there's other things kind of crowded around it? I don't know.
Mhm.
But there is something, I don't know, cozy. Dare I say, Star Wars becomes cozy in the holiday time during December. Star Wars is more like energetic, fun summer in
Mm-hmm.
May. Do I want to be
Mhm.
cozy with a blanket and Star Wars wrap me up? Or do I want to be, fun in the sun with Solo?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, what I have enjoyed about the December releases is what other people have said is it is, tied to the general December. If you celebrate various holidays, great. Otherwise, it is a time in general where, hey, a lot of people have off work and a lot of people spend time with family for whatever reason. And having that just sort of like, it's so close to when people have time off work that there's been elbow room to celebrate of like the diehards go and see it the first weekend and like Last Jedi was very close to Christmas and all saw it in the theater multiple times. The three of us saw it together. We did all of our coverage, and then I was home that year in Minneapolis, and everybody was still talking about it. And then it came back and to LA and saw it two more times, before January 10th, still within the sort of window of the holiday times.
right.
It, there's something about that sort of communal spirit of going back to sort of the whole, the December holidays are a time to take a break in the
Mm-hmm.
darkest time of the season and gather with loved ones and celebrate what brings you light and remember that it won't always be dark. And Star Wars fits into that thematically and
Mm-hmm.
just practically with people having
Right.
time off work. It fits into that. So that's what I love about December.
Mm.
Ken, what do you love about December?
I love. There's two things when this was pitched to us here. When you said, "What if we debate this?" Two things came to mind. The trailers. This is for December. This is the case for December. The trailers saying this Christmas. Now again, I'm not asking you to celebrate Christmas. I'm not even worried about that. Maybe it should say this Boxing Day. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it is speaking to that and that time period. And that would always kind of be like, oh, like it was a gift. I was unwrapping this gift. This is going back to 2014 and the first trailers in 2015 on Monday Night Football, watching that this Christmas became like this Star Wars thing. And then it made me think of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy, which were released during that time back in 2001 and 2 and 3. And clearly opening weekend box offices couldn't beat Hunger Games a few years later. I get that. But again, the business side of it. But for a lot of folks, Lord of the Rings, the trilogy is now a Thanksgiving tradition.
Yes.
Grace and I even kind of do that. We're not alone. I was talking to my friend Joe Starr and his wife Toyland. They do. The Thanksgiving is sitting down and watching all 12 hours of extended editions. Wow. And that just kind of emerged from the time period that they were released, I think. But the epic feeling, like it's families togetherness. Let's all be in on this epic mythic journey together. And I love that Star Wars had that feel without being released in December, but it became this December. Let's grab everyone we love and go on this big epic Star Wars adventure. And it added a layer to Star Wars that May didn't take away from that. May doesn't detract from that. But it's cozy, like you're saying, Jed. Like, let's bundle up. Let's go on an adventure. Unless you're like way down below. Maybe it's a little more summer where you are south of the equator. But, like that, it added to that. That's what I love about December.
That is so funny. I mean, that is such a, holiday association of like a time to remember the good things, a time to connect with family. But it is really funny that they sort of advertise it that way of like, spend time with family who you love in December and just get the F away from them in May for summer fun. Like, we can still love our family in May, right, everybody? But it fits in because everybody is choosing to actively spend time together.
And now I'm pro December because I think, like you're saying, Ken, there is something about like when you go to the holidays to visit your family, right? And oftentimes it's like, well, what are we going to do? Sometimes the malls are closed or shops are closed, so it's like, well, what are we going to do? oh, let's all go see the latest Star Wars movie together. And I'm talking like generations of families, right? That's the whole thing about Star Wars, is that it can appeal to the young and the old. It's fun for the whole family. And there is something like, it's kind of like a safe choice. I went and saw this movie, the one with Diane Lane where she has an affair. I went and saw that movie with my parents. It was so freaking uncomfortable. It was awful. Star Wars is not going to give you that kind of sexy moment. I mean, unless if you're watching The Acolyte, which I appreciate that. But this is this is about the family in December. It's not about Star Wars being sexy.
It's true. I mean, it used to be a little bit of like, well, this, hey, do you not want to do traditional things on actual Christmas Day for whatever reason? Go see not an adult film, but go see an adult film on Christmas. But go see a mature film on Christmas.
Do a Star Wars film.
Go see Oscar bait.
Oh, yes, right.
On Christmas Day, on Boxing Day. It used to be for that now, and now that we've got this, it's for Aquaman.
Yeah.
Why are we watching an awkward divorce with their whole family?
Yeah. Right. This Christmas, Diane Lane has an affair. Yeah, no, you're right. And coming from film school times in the mid '90s, where I was a big cinephile, like, yeah, Christmas was Anthony Hopkins in a top hat, or it was some festival film trying to get in for the final week of the year for an Oscar run.
Right.
And it was like that, or occasionally something silly, like a talking giraffe and a cat are gonna save the world. Like, it was that. And God bless that, but it became something else. And also, what you're talking about, Jen, we always try to do, a ForceCenter caveat to make sure everyone can come to the table. Not everyone enjoys their families. Not everyone might be around, might be a found family. Or I saw Rise of Skywalker in kind of a tense family situation where that was the thing to let's all agree to go do this. And let's go have 2 hours where nothing else really matters. This is what we're focusing on. So that was kind of a benefit of it. And again, not that you couldn't have that in May, but we weren't forced together in May. We were forced together in December.
Exactly.
This is so great. I loved being able to go home to Minneapolis, but I also just treasure for many years, Sarah and I on Christmas Day would go to ArcLight in Hollywood, which is currently closed. And I remember the first year of living in Los Angeles and just like, this city is deserted. There is literally no one on the street. Right. There's no one in Hollywood. And then walk into ArcLight and it was overflowing packed. It's like every human who is still in this town is in this theater, most of them on their cell phones while trying to watch Into the Woods. Anyway, it is also awkward in its own way. Let's talk about May. There's a lot to talk about with May. There's the tradition. There's the summertime fun. There's also the Solo hanging over it. So I want to talk about the Solo, as you brought up, Jennifer. I think some people and pundits are going to say Star Wars doesn't work in May anymore because of Solo. I don't think that's entirely fair. I think Solo was too close to Last Jedi, so it didn't have that whole buildup that you were talking about, Jennifer. It had a fast, truncated version of the buildup. It was too close to other blockbusters, like, unheard of blockbusters with Endgame stuff, with Marvel, not Endgame, but the one, you know what I mean? Infinity War. So I feel like it's shortened advertising span, its closeness to Last Jedi, and its proximity to other blockbusters that made it. I talked to a lot of people who were like, I wanted to go see Solo. I literally couldn't afford it because I'd been to too many movies and I couldn't go. So that's my opinion. But Ken, what's your take? Do you think May is bad for Star Wars, or do you think Solo was more damaged by other factors?
I think if I have to choose between that here on Subjective Wars, that Solo was damaged by other factors, and this is where the business. I do get the discussion of the business, of the realities of what it costs. Like I think I trying to go see Deadpool Wolverine in the theaters. I think, but then I just keep playing out the costs. On Thursday afternoon. Well, I can't get that buffalo chicken pizza that I want. I guess it's a Reese's Pieces pack. That there is some reality to that, and the Last Jedi, and it was celebrated and it was also attacked, and it was like you couldn't have predicted that. You couldn't have predicted Last Jedi being this big cultural moment that then Solo's coming out just a few months later. Yeah, the stories that I remember us hearing back in the day of. Which is crazy to say that 2018 is now back in the day, but you couldn't put the Solo merch out at places like Target on the end caps because Marvel's Avengers Endgame had to be there. And they had like 3.5 weeks. That's some store managers I remember writing us back in the day going, we have the Solo stuff. We can't put it out. So there was some of that. The trailer was a little bit of when are we getting this trailer? And then Endgame comes out. And
I think it's Infinity War. I misspoke.
Oh, Infinity War. That's right. Well, Marvel.
Yeah.
But the biggest of the time, right? A once or twice in a lifetime situation because Endgame has the same vibe. But that's like following, if you're at a comedy show, like following a giant comic who's good, who has 1 million followers, and you're next. And you're like, but I had a good set too. But no one remembers that. No one was there to see me. No one wanted to see me. They were kind of upset that comic had to leave the stage. And here I am. But I did okay. I did good. It just happened to me and Flappers recently. 1.5 million follower comic who is loud and fun and funny. And then there's me. But I was okay too. But no one remembers that. No one remembers that. So that's where I look at May and Solo. I'd love for them to try it again. I think the Rey movie should be in December. But if there's another way to do it, there's always back in the day, are they going to do 2 films in 1 year? And May and December would make sense. I think it's the right kind of Star Wars film in May would absolutely. And when I say right kind, I don't have that answer right now. It just might be a feeling that we all know. The right kind of Star Wars adventure in May, I think would do very well.
Yeah. Jennifer, how do you feel about Solo? Does it give you any trepidation about May releases?
I feel bad for Solo. Solo was not set up to succeed. I really, really feel that. It was a fantastic movie, fantastic performances. Alden Ehrenreich knocked it out of the park, but it was too close to The Last Jedi. It was too close to Infinity War. And I think when you're going to do a movie with May, there has to be like some anticipation. Either it's that Star Wars has not been in the theater for a long, like if they were to release one in May next year, it would be hot because people have been waiting for a Star Wars movie, right? There's that anticipation. Or if you're going to do it too close, then it's got to be a storyline that people have been, really wanting. And I think the problem was with Solo is that there was already a big conversation where it was like, do we really need this? Okay, well, whatever. Right. We don't really need any movie, but like, do we really need to see this legacy character? Harrison Ford is so iconic. There was already so many things stacked against it that's why I don't think it did well in May. But I think that they should absolutely try and dominate again. I think Star Wars can and it will. It's just going to be about the right timing and the right story.
Yeah. So Mandalorian and Grogu is currently scheduled for May 22nd, 2026. That could change 8 times before now and that date, but it is currently scheduled for May. I think I have a part of my May obsession is that you can watch any movie anytime. Yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. You can watch it in July and have a great time. Movies are not tied to when they're released. But they can have a different magic depending on what they are. There's a reason that people watch It's a Wonderful Life, around the holidays, all that kind of thing. I kind of, part of my May obsession is I feel like the Skywalker saga stories that are about family at the end of the day really work well with your family, and when it's about different family members struggling and finding a way through a dark time and coming together and being there for one another. Like, oh man, you watch Luke kiss Leia's forehead, and then you go back and you eat holiday leftovers with a relative you've had a strained relationship with. Right? May, it's like even if you're not a kid, if you don't have kids, that sun's out, summer's out. Let's go. I think a Star Wars film that has more of the energy of Solo, that is about a scrappy guy making bad choices and pulling through anyway out of a combination of luck and hubris. That's a May movie. That's a get on your bike and race movie. And I want Star Wars to have some of that energy of a get on your bike and race movie. And I wonder if they're going to go with that with Mandalorian and Grogu. Not that there isn't going to be depth, not that it isn't going to be about family, but it is going to be the kind of movie that adults can get plenty out of. But an 8-year-old can see that movie and go, take me to Target right damn now and buy me a fake jetpack and a scooter, and I'm going to play Mandalorian and Grogu all damn summer. That energy, I believe it's still possible.
You're inspired me because number one, I'll be in that aisle, kid, trying to get the jetpack first. And two, I almost want a video game version of the film at the same time. So you can spend the entire summer playing Mando and Grogu just scene by scene.
Right.
Whether that date holds or not is a good point to bring up, but I do think you're right, Joseph, in terms of the feel. I think Solo, at the end of the day, is a May film, and that's, I think, why they kind of stuck with it. When I say they, it just might be Uncle Bob Iger. But, Mandalorian and Grogu has that vibe. It could definitely fit into the summer of Mando and Grogu. I think that could be the one.
That will be amazing. And yeah, Solo probably would have done better in December with more time and space. But there's a part of me is like, I love that. For us, it was the summer of Solo. It wasn't for large swaths of the world, but it was the summer of Solo, and it gave me all those great moods and thoughts. Here's another May question for you both. So let's say Mandalorian and Grogu holds for May 2026, and it does well. May 2027, the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, later renamed A New Hope. Is that important to you, Jennifer? Do you want, come hell or high water, if we're getting a Star Wars movie in 2027, that the 50th anniversary is sitting right there? Do you want to have that experience or not?
Oh, I wasn't thinking about it until you said it. Now I'm like, oh, because what would it be? It wouldn't be Rey, right? Rey comes before Mandalorian? Or it could be Rey?
No, Mandalorian and Grogu is the next film. That is the
next
one thing that they have been strangely clear on as a company. So pipeline, it could be the Rey film, and for me, the triumphant return of the Jedi. I continue to think, from what's been said, that film is going to be about, like, the Jedi are the heroes, the Jedi are the defenders of light and life, and it's dark forces that don't want them to exist, don't want them to be around the galaxy helping people. That could be a real fist pumping. Look, we've looked in the dark mirror and we've criticized ourselves, but also let's get back to that 1977 feeling of Luke's the good guy and we want him to win, damn it. If the Rey movie holds that, big if the Rey movie holds that energy, boy, would it be amazing to see it on May 25th.
Yeah, that's why they're working on it right now. They're probably retooling it. Because it's got to hit like that, right? Justice for the Jedi. It's to be the summer of the Jedi. And I like it.
That could be, we'll see.
Ken?
That could be the problem. That could be the problem. This film's giving justice to the Jedi? No. I'm kidding.
Put it out on Halloween and criticize.
Kidding. Sorry, still grumpy. I think it would be. I mean, the whole year being a 50th celebration is going to be crazy to begin with, but I do think, just hearing you talk, Joseph, it'd be a missed opportunity to not have something that May. But maybe it could. Maybe it's just a re-release, but that's not as exciting as something new. Because it's insane. It would be insane that I don't even think you could convince George Lucas in May of 1977 that 50 years from now, not only is this still going, but a new thing's coming out. Whether or not he would be involved or not, I think even back then he had I just hope I get my sequel. So to have that vibe in May of 2027, it would be great.
Be bonkers. All right. I think we need to get to our decision making. I think we've all been tortured. We have disappeared into talking about the biz rabbit holes. But Ken, have you changed in which month do you lean toward?
I mean, you're getting me kind of excited, and anticipation levels are up for May of Mando and Grogu. Like a lot of folks, still not sure what that film is going to end up feeling like. I don't think we're going to get any clarification at D23 on a lot of their projects, but I'd like that. I am very excited for a Rey movie and a new Jedi Order film. May would be a great home for that. I think if both those films are released in May, I'll be I'll be having a summer of Star Wars. And then come December, I will miss not having Star Wars. I'm going to stick with December.
You want more elbow room.
Yeah, the new becomes the old classic thing in my heart on this one. Sticking with the December release.
Yeah. Well, for myself, I would not be upset with December. I probably think December is even a better business model because I think films have had a better experience getting other people to back off of December dates and give Star Wars the elbow room. And I think May can get clogged with all sorts of people, including Marvel films, trying to be the hit of the summer. So I think May is probably a little bit more dangerous from a strict like business punditry standpoint. But I just can't get away from that feeling of the summer fun, the riding on your bike. It was muted for us, I think, because of the strike, but it was so great last year to be the summer of Barbie and Oppenheimer. But in terms of like a film that's got
Summer
depth,
of Oppenheimer.
the summer of Oppenheimer, kids just want to ride their bikes and create things they regret, and
It's just weird.
Summer of
But you're
Barbie.
not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just weird to pull back and go.
But in the whole Barbenheimer thing, there's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Just for a moment, just for a blessed moment, let's forget the horror of Oppenheimer, not the film, but the reality, and enjoy Barbie. Barbie was in some ways, and maybe people will deeply disagree with me, in some ways was a Star Wars movie. It had a ton of depth and thought, but it was also fast and fun and funny and felt like summer and made you want to ride your bike, made you want to sit at an outdoor patio and talk about it with friends. And I think that experience of Barbie in particular, muted because we couldn't talk about it online with the SAG strike. I want that feeling of the summer hit, and I want to believe Star Wars can do it again. So I'm going with May.
There you go.
Jennifer, it's up to you.
Okay. I want Star Wars to dominate again.
Domination.
Star Wars domination. I'm worried about the state of our business, our industry, the state of movies. And because of that, I don't know the way that things are going. I'm shocked that Twisters has done as well as it has. So what I want to do is protect my Star Wars and give it the best opportunity to succeed. And in my heart of hearts, I believe it's December because Disney has carved out that time, right? Of when they kind of stagger their releases. One year it's going to be, Little Mermaid or Ariel, and then it was Lion King, and now it's Star Wars. So they've kind of protected that space for their movies, and because of that, I'm going with December because I want Star Wars to succeed so we can keep getting more.
There you go. I cannot disagree with that. I just have a May obsession that I can't shake. So there you have it. We have debated. We have discussed. Please let us know what your thoughts are. This is such a fun topic because I think it really is about business punditry. It's about personal experience of when is it best for you to experience the films? When is it best for you to enjoy them with your community? And it is a really fun discussion of what is the flavor of a movie? And does it make a difference when we see it? Does it make a difference how many layers of clothing we need to wear, depending on where you live, to see this film? Would you rather see Star Wars in a light tank top or a heavy jacket? That was the question we wrestled with here today, and we're really anxious to hear your comments. That is it. Ken, you want to take us home?
I do. Jaws might not have been as effective if it was a Christmas movie. So there you go. That's true. Hey, we're ForceCenter. You can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod. Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. And you can follow us on Instagram or YouTube. If you're here, subscribe. If you're just hanging out for the first time or you haven't subscribed before, we would love that as we reach our goals on the YouTube side of things. We are a podcast and available wherever podcasts are found. Merch available at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. You can support us directly at patreon.com/ForceCenter. Follow me at Ken Napzok. Go to my website, kennapzok.com, where I will return from Little Rock, Arkansas. Get ready for Joseph Scrimshaw's birthday variety show I can't wait to be a part of. It's going to be live in LA or live on the internet. Joseph will tell you all about it now.
That is right. The show is called Horror Years Old. I've got a big birthday coming, and this is a show I'm doing to celebrate it. Got a lot of great people on it, including Ken with some props that I can't wait to hear more about. Friends of the show, Hal Lublin, Audrey Kearns, my performing friend that I've done many things with, Laser the Boy, all sorts of great sketch comedy, a short film, all sorts of stuff. Tickets are available on my website, josephscrimshaw.com. And Jennifer, where can your adventures be found?
You can find me on all the social media sites at Jennifer Landa, TikTok at Jennifer Landa 1138. I am now on our ForceCenter Discord, so join me there. I'm going to be chatting it up, causing controversy. I'm just kidding.
And Ken, to close out our discussion, what hat do you feel you're going to wear the next time we record?
I could go political with my Ukraine hat, which shouldn't be political. It's just the survival of a nation. Maybe, I do have a Chihuahua, a El Paso Chihuahuas minor league baseball team helmet. Maybe I'll break that one out. I don't do that often.
That sounds beautiful. Well, that has been our discussion of Ken's hat and what month should Star Wars come out. This is Subjective Wars. They have been fought.